Well, I'll assume that you can. Hey, Inga. Lovely to see you. It's weird. I don't know why YouTube is doing this, but can you just let me know if you can see me properly? If that's okay? Well, regardless, welcome to this episode of Peaceful Path. Hey there, TM. Does it all look okay? Is the picture okay? I just need to know. Hey, Mary Lou. Nice to see you. Well, for now, the only thing that doesn't look okay on my end is my hair. You are turned sideways, Alex. Okay. What about now? Is this better? Okay, let me know if this is better. Okay, good. All right, great. We have made progress. I hope it's not perfect, but it is something. Thank you so much to all of you for being here, for sharing this tour, this stream with me. Another episode of Peaceful Path, and yeah, I appreciate. Oops, sorry. What's going on here? Let me just set this up. Thank you, Fatima. So yeah, thanks, friends. I appreciate having you here with me. This is a very necessary, and it's a topic that we can all relate to. And if you can't, then you will one day. Topic of grief, how to navigate and how to deal with grief throughout our lives, and how to do so using mindfulness meditation, which is a topic that I seem to really find inspiring and practical, and something that I'm just very, very interested in. So I'm hoping to lend my knowledge, but feel free to chime in as well if you feel like there's stuff that you feel like you want to talk about, and if there's some wisdom that you'd like to lend, by all means chime in. It is so nice to see you all. I missed you all. I'm here on level 4 of my courtyard. There are some people having an early game of tennis in the background. Everyone's, the Australian Open is currently ubiquitous. It is everywhere. So it really just gets people into the spirit of tennis. So it's nice to see that happening. And great to see you too, Corrine. Lovely to see you. Inge, thank you. Ciao, Elisabetta. Nice to see you. So yeah, we'll talk about this topic as much as I can. Hey, Natalie, no worries. And if you are grieving, or if you're impacted by loss, then I hope that this helps you in any way. And a lot of what we talk about can give you insight into how to deal with these terrible, terrible experiences of grief. Hey, Suzanne, lovely to see you. Good to see you. Yes, hi again. We just had a meditation on Insight Timer not long ago, and that was good. We had a Vipassana meditation. So we're jumping from a meditation to a talk. So let's begin. And again, if you feel like you want to chime in, if you want to, lend your opinion, by all means, this is a discussion, not a lecture. So, yes, sinner. Elizabeth is talking about the tennis player. She's not calling me a sinner. There's an Italian tennis player called Sinner who's doing very well. Let's go through key points firstly, right, to consider when you're dealing with grief. Okay. Hey, Stephanie. I hope this helps you as well, because I know you're going through a little bit of grief at the moment. No doubt, Gregory. A community is very, very, very important when dealing with grief. Knowing that you have people that you can talk to, knowing that you have people that you can lean on to. Hey, Cynthia, lovely to see you, is paramount to navigating this arduous path towards overcoming grief. But the first thing you need to do is, when you are dealing with grief, is acknowledge your feelings, because you are going to feel sad. You are going to feel angry or confused. And, the first thing you need to do is just acknowledge that these feelings are happening. Don't try to escape them. Don't try to ignore them, because those are very, very normal emotions that you will be going through if you're going through grief. And, we all go through them at one point, and unfortunately they are inevitable, and they're a big part of what we have to go through when we are mourning the loss of someone that we either know or love. The second point I'd say is talk about your feelings, right? You want to talk about how you feel, let it out, share your thoughts, share your emotions, have someone there to lend an ear, because it's very healthy to talk about how you feel. It's very healthy to share those feelings with your friends, because it just helps you process those emotions and it helps you deal with it a lot better. It's a bit of an outlet, and that's very important. What tends to happen when we are dealing with grief, when we are navigating through this thorny and uncomfortable path of loss, is we tend to neglect ourselves as well. We will ignore, sorry if there's a bit of sound, there's a plane up there, tend to ignore what's important to us because we are just intensely absorbed in this incredibly unpleasant experience. So the next thing I'd say is just more self-care. Self-care is extremely crucial in navigating grief. First you've got to ensure that you're eating well, sleeping enough, and just maintaining physical shape and feeling better. Let me just see. I'm trying to catch up some of your comments. And let me just catch up on what you're saying. Corrine, I'm so sorry about your loss. And I know that a lot of you, you're going to be sharing losses. And again, I'm so sorry. We're all here because we are going through this. I was dealing with grief a few months ago, and it was told my cousin who got murdered. So there's a lot of emotions that we have to process. And I know that every single one of you probably have experienced grief before and have had to overcome these emotions. Again, we'll just go through a few more pointers, and then I'd like to talk a little bit more about how we can manage those emotions through meditation, how we can use meditation as a tool to overcome those feelings of grief. And then we'll have a discussion, a more casual discussion together, okay? Yes, we all experience it at once. It's one of those inevitable things that we have to deal with as people. So next is I know it's easier said, at some point, if you need to retain a routine, maintain a routine, just because sometimes when we're grieving, we tend to lose track of time, we tend to lose track of our routine, and then everything just gets all over the place. So sometimes applying a routine to your life, no matter how it may not even feel like it's an important routine, or it may even feel little, like just waking up at a certain time or eating at a certain time, but that can just help keep you in a place of balance at the very least, no matter how minimal it may seem. Look, if things are hard, then obviously go seek professional help. If you feel like things are very hard to deal with, then always go and speak to a professional. There's no shame in that, because if you don't have a friend who is adept at listening and lending their wisdom, then you go out there and speak to someone who's more adept at listening, like a professional, a psychologist, a therapist, who's more experienced in grief counseling. And again, allow time. Don't pressure yourself. Don't try to fast track this process towards overcoming grief. Okay, just give it time. Take your time. Understand that it may take longer than you think. And that's because you're letting go of something that has been a big part of your life, or that has played a significant part of your life in any way. So let that someone, part with you in a very organic way. Do not try to force it too much, and do not try to rush the process, okay? Just, there's no timeline. There's no timeline for grieving. So just allow as much time as you can. What I found useful for me is maybe find a creative outlet. You can. There are many ways in which you can express your grief. You can yeah, express those emotions you're going through. You can do it through writing in a creative way. You can do it through painting, drawing. You can do it through writing poetry. And I find that sometimes adding a creative outlet to the process can help you deal with it a lot better. And it is a very effective form of expression. So that's very important as well. And another thing that comes to mind is just try to avoid making major decisions, okay? Don't put extra pressure on yourself. When you're going through grief, when you're dealing with these things, avoid putting pressure on yourself and having to make major decisions because grief can cloud your judgment. It can, it can make it hard for you to see what you need to do and what decisions you need to make. And so just try to avoid making significant life decisions in that time that you're grieving. It's very, very important. A journal, remember, a journal is very important. And, joining a support group, there are many groups you can join. And here's something that also helps. Focus on what you can control, okay? Oftentimes we anxiety and depression is a manifestation of us feeling like we are out of control of our own decisions and of our own how we navigate our lives. And that can sometimes snowball into something worse and worse. It has a dominoes effect. But when you focus on things that you can control, you reclaim your autonomy, you reclaim that which you reclaim your power, really. So again, focus on what you can control, like your health, like your hobbies, work, and again, that'll provide you with a very clear sense of empowerment, and it'll give you more belief in yourself, and it'll set you in the right direction for sure. Suzanne's saying we can also grieve over losing a job, going through a divorce, etc. For sure, absolutely. Grief isn't always limited to the loss of someone in your life. You could have lost a job. I, in a way, grieved when Hago ceased to exist. For those who don't know, it was a virtual live streaming platform, virtual touring platform that I was a part of, and it played a big role in my life. And then when I was given 11 days notice or whatever it was to prepare for the ending of this platform, it affected me, and I did go through a grieving process. So it doesn't always have to be death or loss of somebody that you love. It can also be, as Suzanne so correctly pointed out, it can be the loss of a job, and it can be the loss of a loved one as well. We've all been there. Well, a lot of us have been there, right? When you're with someone and you build a life around them and they build a life around you, and you become attached to them, you form habits together, you form routines, and then it all just ends and you feel like something's being torn apart from you. So that can also result in the same process as overcoming the loss of someone that you love. So grief can be manifested in a variety of different ways, and that's very, very true. Definitely, Suzanne. We all grieve together. It was a very sad, it was almost a year ago, wasn't it? In 3 months, it'll be a year from when it happened. So, yeah, it is sad, but, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to things that don't include death, the way I see it is that it is disappointing, and emotions will surface, and you will feel very sad, and you'll feel down, and you'll feel an array of emotions that may affect you negatively, or at least seems like it's negative in that moment. But another way to look at it is, and how I looked at it following Hago's demise, was just seeing it as the ending of one chapter and as welcoming a new chapter in my life. And that's when you lose a job, when you part ways with a loved one from a relationship, not from a bereavement sense. You're embracing a new chapter in your life. So you deal with the grief, you deal with the emotions, but then you start looking at the new chapter in your life, and that's another very important way to look at it. let's see. Yes, it was a very sad, for sure. And I can imagine, Inga, people underestimate the loss of fur babies, but I can imagine the loss of your cat was very, very hard. And I oftentimes think about how I'm going to feel eventually when my little boy passes away. And it's just going to be very, very hard to deal with, because we do form attachments, which is going to bring me to in a few pointers from now, we're going to talk about meditation and about how we can extract the wisdom from meditation and use that to deal with grief on a practical level, okay? Yeah. Thanks, Inga. Yeah, I'm grateful for that too. And hopefully everyone's happy and following their purpose and moving on to a new place. Exactly, Stephanie. So Suzanne's saying meditation is a good way to go, better than drugs or drinking, 100%. And I don't take drugs, I don't drink alcohol. I just think that meditation is the best way to just experience a euphoric sense of bliss, really. And the best thing about this so-called invisible drug called meditation is that it makes you feel blissful, but it also gives you full conscious control over your being. There are no side effects, there is no nothing. So once you start incorporating and embracing and welcoming meditation as a regular habit into your life, it can be very, very empowering. Let's keep on this. Lastly, okay, two more things. When you're dealing with grief, the second last thing I'd say, the second last pointer I have, is that you have to also remember the good times. You have to just be happy for the good things that you experienced. Celebrate the life of the person that you're grieving. Celebrate the job that you had that you lost. Celebrate whatever it is that you have just lost now. And really, I mean, that is how that person would have wanted you to remember them, in a positive way. And it's a great way to overcome it, because it keeps them in your heart in a very positive way. And it forms a new association. So yeah, just celebrate the life of that person that you've lost. Recall those happy memories, and you may find that comforting. You may find that to be a very beneficial way to deal with grief, however it is in your life. Lastly, I'd say be patient with yourself. Again, healing from grief is a very personal thing, and it's a very gradual process. So it's very wise to be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself, because how you navigate this journey will differ radically from how someone else may navigate their journey. So we all navigate our journeys of grief in different ways, and just being kind to yourself and patient and understanding and trusting that you are going to overcome this in your own pace, at your own time, is powerful, because some people will give themselves a week or a month, and it may not take you a week, it may not take you a month, it may take you a year to overcome the grief, and that's fine. There's no rush. Just be patient and accept these feelings, accept these emotions, no matter how long it takes, for sure. On that note, let's talk a little bit about how we can utilize meditation to overcome grief in our lives. Exactly. There's no time frame, Suzanne, 100%. There's no time frame. And so you just don't put that pressure on yourself. Do not set any boundaries. Just let the process manifest in a very organic way, and accept. And every moment of grief that you'll experience throughout your life will be different as well. There will be different time frames throughout your personal life. So it's not just necessarily that your journey will be different to someone else's. Your journey will be different to your own journey each time you experience grief. So that's very important. Now, how can we navigate through grief? How can we cope with grief? Using meditation as a tool, using everything that we've learned so far. So the last point that I presented to you was being kind to yourself. So just being kind and understanding that grief is a journey that takes a lot of patience and self-compassion. So one of the meditations I would recommend navigating through grief, and there are plenty of those on Insight Timer, and I think I have one on my profile. If not, then I'll upload a metta meditation. So metta meditation, which is also known as a loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation emphasizes self-compassion, self-kindness, and compassion and kindness towards other people. It's a very positive way to look at things, and it just helps you cultivate a more, a more peaceful state, and you become a little bit less resentful of others and of yourself. So it's very, very important. It's very important to expand this compassion to other people and to the person that you may have lost, or the job, or the partner that you may have parted ways with, because sometimes anger can overtake our experience. When you're experiencing anger, when you're dealing with grief, anger can sometimes eclipse your capacity and your ability to overcome those feelings of grief, and it may even just lengthen the amount of time that it takes to recover from grief. So just know that for you to overcome that anger towards yourself or towards maybe someone else, then a loving kindness meditation can give you closure, and it can give you this peace of mind that you may need. So we'll do a loving kindness meditation on Insight Timer. If you just follow my Insight Timer, there'll be a link in the description, and I'll upload a metta loving kindness meditation shortly at some point soon, so that you can use it whenever you feel like you need to bring out this sense of compassion. Okay. What I found personally, 2023 was marked by several moments of grief for me personally. Aside, as I was saying, because I found that establishing a routine when meditating, so finding a specific time each day, no matter what I'm going through in that moment. For me, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. Every day, in that exact precise moment, I would just sit down and meditate. And that routine would, in many ways, just help. It'll just help keep me in control. It'll just give me a little bit of control over my life. Again, when you're experiencing grief, you feel like you have no control over how you feel. You feel like you have no control over how your actions. So just the routine, this little change can just give you a little bit, just a sense of control, not necessarily control, but a sense that you are in control. Let's quickly have a read of the comments, and then we'll go back to talking. So Inga's saying, that's why I like making memories with my mum. She is 83 years. When you have happy memories, you can always remember those. Doesn't mean you won't grieve, but there are other happy thoughts as well. For sure, Inga, 100%. So you need to make the most out of every moment. And that's mindfulness in a way, just being conscious of every second, every moment that you spend with a person, with a loved one, even with someone you may not even expect them to pass away, because they could pass away any time. So you've just got to, at all times, embrace every opportunity with someone. I know someone 2 years ago passed away. It was a friend, suddenly young, my age. And I just think to myself, I wish I would have spent more time with them. And just at least, it would have been nice if I just had an opportunity to just say one last goodbye. But you know, hindsight's 2020, and I can't really think like that. But we can learn from that, and we can just say to ourselves, let's just spend every moment appreciating and just harboring moments of appreciation towards people that we have in our lives. Stranger Things, you have school. Well, 10:40 p.m. Well, it'll almost finish. Well, we're almost there, Stranger Things, but thanks for being here. I know you have school tomorrow. Hope this doesn't, if you do have school, then feel free to go. You can watch it later. Hopefully this doesn't take away from your sleep. Okay, but what do you do with the trauma and emptiness, DB is asking, and I'll answer that. I'll just quickly read Suzanne's comment. Initially, there are only sad feelings, but gradually positive memories surface. And that's an important part of the process, Suzanne. Initially, you feel those incredibly unpleasant emotions, and you feel lost. As DB says, you feel trauma, you feel emptiness. So DB, I'd say the best way to deal with the trauma and with the emptiness is to firstly be kind to yourself, okay? When you're experiencing trauma, the trauma is a manifestation of just being caught up in what is happening and what has happened, which is the loss, right? you feel empty because you feel like a big part of you is being taken away from you. And again, that results in emptiness. Emptiness also feels like when you feel like you have no control, you feel lost, like you're in space and there's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing you can do, that you have no control over which direction you're going to go. And that is all emptiness, right? So what I would suggest is, firstly, 2 steps. Firstly, start by journaling. Write your thoughts down. Talk about them, because the sooner you express yourself, the sooner you open your heart and open up about your thoughts and learn to articulate those emotions and become more at peace with those emotions, the easier it'll be for you to deal with them, okay? So it's very important for you to learn how to articulate that. So I'd say just journaling, and I'd suggest even doing that after a meditation. So maybe do a breathing meditation. Start with an anapanasati breathing mindfulness meditation. And what that does is it just allows you to just become more at peace with the thoughts, but it allows you to become also one with the present. So you become aware of the thoughts, you acknowledge them, you acknowledge these incredible emotions, incredibly sad emotions, you acknowledge where they're coming from, and then you just go back to your breath. So you just constantly become aware that those are feelings, but they don't necessarily have to take over how you feel. And that's, it can be an effective anchor to bring you back to the present moment, to calm your mind, especially when things are overwhelming, for sure. Hey, Teresa, lovely. Thanks for being here. I just arrived from Lisbon. Lovely. Wow. And my boyfriend. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Stranger Things. I'm sorry to hear you had all these unpleasant experiences, and that's unfortunate. But 2024 is a new year, and it's a fresh path, and we're gonna navigate through this very, with stoicism and with strength and with kindness and with compassion and with wisdom. Suzanne's saying also talk to like-minded people who had the same experience, 100%. And sometimes and let me tell you something, not every conversation that you're going to have with someone is good or productive. Sometimes you'll talk to someone and they're not going to understand where you're coming from. They're not going to listen to you, and you just feel like you feel like you're better off just talking to yourself, or not talking to anyone. So find people that can listen, people who may have understood or may understand where you're coming from, who may have gone through what you are going through, and then they can lend their own personal insights, thanks for sharing that, Suzanne. That's actually a very good point. And they can lend their own wisdom. So that's a very important thing to do. Find like-minded people who've had the same experience. Share with them. They will listen to you. They'll understand. They will relate to what you're going through. And then they can share how they've coped with it. And then you can listen to them. And sometimes, listening to other people and seeking to understand where they're coming from can help you overcome this in a variety of ways. So that's very, very important. Also, try to incorporate meditation or mindfulness in day-to-day activities. Well, firstly, you can do yoga every morning. Yoga is a great way to get the body moving a little bit and distract you from what you're going through. But just when you're doing something, do it, right? When you're doing the dishes or when you're clearing the dishwasher, just feel everything that you're doing and be present in the moment. The more you keep yourself in the present, the more in control you'll be of your emotions. So in the sense of navigating through your grief and using mindfulness as a tool, just being mindful of and incorporating mindfulness into your daily activities can be a very practical way to help navigate those feelings and manage those intense emotions that may seem to be stunting how you feel throughout the day. You're Fatima's friend. Lovely. Well, anyone who's a friend with Fatima is a friend of ours. So thanks for being here, Teresa. Okay, let's see. So Cynthia is responding to Inge. She's saying, Inge, I agree 100%. I love taking care of her before she died. I know she just graduated from this life and she is now having fun in another place. It is just an ending to a new beginning. Absolutely, Cynthia. And that's the best way to look at it, right? And that's how as I was saying a year ago, in the West we have this concept of when we lose something, we lose it, right? Whereas in other cultures, the loss indicates the beginning of something new, a new chapter for this person, a new chapter for you, right? A new way for you to appreciate and love this person, a new cycle, which is a cycle of life. So, absolutely. You sound like a girl. That's funny. No, I'm not a girl. I'm a man. Okay, so what do we have here? Who do we have? Suzanne saying, wish I had known about meditations for a long time. Yeah, same, Suzanne. I've began meditating on a regular basis, on a consistent basis 4 years ago. I've been meditating for longer than that, but regularly, daily, 4 years ago. And I think of all of the times prior to that I've grieved and that I've dealt with loss. And it would have been nice to just know how to deal with it. And meditation does really, in the most simple ways possible. Meditation gives you the tools. It equips you with very practical tools to deal with meditation. It may not have a list of things that you can tick off. It may not be a quick pill that you can swallow. But over time, it gives you the physical and psychological tools to deal with these things. So, I think it's one of the best ways to deal with grief. Feel free to share if you have any advice, if you have any feelings of grief that you may be going through now. If you'd like to share your thoughts or chime in, by all means. Hello, C1. Lovely to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So, look, remember, routine. Just have a routine and learn to engage in that routine. Natalie's saying, because of your meditation, I can cope with a bit better with grief, lost a few loved ones the past year, but getting a bit better with it. Thank you. No, thank you, Natalie, for sharing this. And look, as I said, I know that you're all going through at some point or have went through grief. And, grief is not something that you overcome immediately. You may be experiencing it for the rest of your life in the sense that, 20 years down the track, you may be, a memory may be triggered and you may relive this experience of grief. As Suzanne just read my mind, anniversaries are very, very difficult, right? So every now and then, a year later, every year you may, in that same period of time, you may experience that grief. It may resurface. So, knowing how to navigate grief. Grief is something that we will experience at all times, okay? So, again, if there's one thing that you can take out of this whole thing, it is be patient. Be patient, understand this is a lifelong process. Valeria Alejandra, yes, of course, please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't yet, by all means, subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos, because there are so many more videos that I have and that are coming up. So I really do enjoy our Peaceful Path talks. There's a lot of insight that we can learn from them. And I can imagine, Natalie. I can imagine. 11 years down the track, we still experience it. We feel that grief. So thanks, guys. I hope that this has, not taught you anything, but inspired you to figure ways to deal with grief. Or at the very least, I hope you just feel like you're with people, you're with a community, and that you at least have some tools that you can use in the event of grief down the track. Corrine saying, firsts are really hard. Definitely. First holiday, first birthday, or special day, for sure. For sure. That's when it kicks in, doesn't it, Corrine? When you look at the calendar and it's been a year since you've lost that person, and then it just kicks in and those emotions resurface. But again, you just have to be patient. You just have to let those emotions play out. You just have to accept what's going through your body and be honest with yourself, and you'll find that it'll be a lot easier for you to navigate through those feelings of grief, for sure. Valeria saying, I'm from Mexico, but I still understanding what you're... lovely. Thanks, Valeria. I'm glad that I can speak in a way that you understand. Thank you. Suzanne saying, really appreciate you doing this talk, Alex. Thanks for your thoughts. And thank you for your thoughts and input too, Suzanne. And I appreciate that. And, I know that you're a very resilient person, and that you have a lot of wisdom, and you shared it with us today. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. January 24th. Okay. So yeah, those birthdays, which in your case will be in a couple of weeks, can trigger those emotions for sure. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Merci. Much love. Thanks for your input. Thanks for chiming in, sharing your thoughts and your wisdom. Definitely TM. And it's just nice to sit back and chat about these things together as a group. So thanks to all of you for being here and for sharing your thoughts and for listening to what I have to say. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, Arlene. Appreciate it. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. Much love to you too, Suzanne. I appreciate it. If you really enjoyed this, you can also buy me a coffee. There's a link over there. Shout me a coffee if you feel like it. Otherwise, no pressure. It's just nice to have you all here with me. Well, Valeria, it's good to know all these different accents: US, Australian, British. It might take you a while to learn the Scottish accent, but that you can get there too. I love the Scottish accent. It's one of my favorite accents. All right, guys. We will speak soon. Give you a big hug. Look after yourselves. Thank you for sharing this with me, and we'll speak in the next live stream. Check out my channel as well. Check out what else I have in my channel. There's a lot more to see. There's a lot more to explore about meditation, about mindfulness, and even about travel. Check them out, and I'll chat to you soon. Lots of love.